I want to apologize because, of course, we couldn't have a program without me having an IT issue. So I apologize in advance, but no surprise. Um, I did press the record button again. So for any other questions, so I apologize. Anyone else?
So the overall effectiveness of Apelkin declined in time, and I don't mean a single administration. I mean its usefulness in general.
So it's a really interesting question. And in my experience, that people have been on the same dose for years and really have the same response over time. So there doesn't seem to be that same issue that you see with levodopa, where you see a shorter duration response or perhaps a little less robust that requires dose titration. The biggest mistake that I see happen when people are first initiated on medication, sometimes I think there's a little bit of a placebo response. And so what happens is people may respond to a lower dose than they actually need initially. And so in general, if a person is not seeing reversal of their off episodes, the overwhelming majority of times they use the medication, they're probably not properly dosed. So once they're properly dosed, we should see the expectation, it really should be met, that people are seeing about 95% of their off episodes reversed with Apokyn administration. So if someone were on Apokyn, they come back to me and say, it's working some of the time, it's not working other times, or it's not working as well as it had when we initially started this, then I would say we probably need to revisit the idea that they're just not properly dosed. But once the dosing is dialed in, it seems to be really persistent and durable in terms of the effect at that dose. Any other questions?
Dr. Ellenbogen, it seems that vigorous exercise, which is important, tends to hasten the off episodes. Can you use Apokyn even during well, I don't want to say during a run, but at any time during vigorous exercise?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was the idea with that one case example of the woman who does the boxing program and notices that her medication seems to run down during that. So yes, I have patients who will utilize medication either before they engage in vigorous exercise, or if they need to, because sometimes they find wearing off, other times they don't, they can then administer something like Apokyn during that. But knowing that it's going to kick in relatively quickly, that by 20 minutes they should be fully on, and that it's going to last somewhere from 60 to 90 minutes. If someone's only going to be exercising for that 60 to 90 minutes, then it may cover the entire time that they're exercising. But having that flexibility of how you use it so that it can be really individualized to each person's needs.
Is it anecdotal that exercise hastens the off episodes, or is there some proof that occurs?
No, there certainly have been some papers about that. The concept is essentially that people may be burning through their dopamine faster because of whether it's endogenously produced by someone's brain or exogenous in the form of levodopa that they're taking that gets converted into dopamine, that simply that extra movement seems to maybe burn through that dopamine a little bit faster. And having been in practice for 20 plus years and seeing, I don't know how many thousands of people who have Parkinson's, this is not something that's a unique idea, and certainly many others have related that. So there's definitely something to it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question.
And we have another question. Has there been any testing of levodopa by injection to avoid the stomach?
Yes, there are two formulations of carbidopa levodopa. Well, one is a prodrug of carbidopa levodopa, foscarbidopa, foslevodopa, that are currently in process of trying to get approval through the FDA. They have both been submitted. One was given a response letter from the FDA in May that the FDA wanted more information. And so that actually, but this is not an injection, so it's not an on-demand therapy. These are medications that are essentially a pump formulation. So there's a continuous administration of medication over 24 hours. And so I anticipate that we're going to start seeing pump therapies. And there's some other ones coming as well as my expectation. And some of these are already available in Europe. So we are behind the times in the US compared to our European colleagues in regard to this. But I think within the next year to year and a half, we're going to start to see this idea working its way into the US and having availability. And so I'm sure you'll hear more about that. And I'm sure once those things get approved, there'll be lots of information and lots of people wanting to talk about it. And also, probably seeing how insurance has to handle it and those kinds of things. It's going to be a slow process and a slow transition, but that is the future.
And I think it's important for everyone to know, too, that Dr. Ellenbogen is very much involved at Quest Research that's located in Farmington Hills. Lost my lights. But there are a lot of research centers out there as well. So we can't do any of this without your participation in research. So there's my plug for that.
Thank you. As I had mentioned before, without people who are willing to volunteer and give their time and so on, and people may personally benefit from it, but certainly one of the things I've been impressed with in my career is how altruistic people with Parkinson's tend to be, and their willingness, even if I don't benefit from it, I'm hoping that I'll be able to help others. And it's pretty remarkable within the community. I don't see that in some other conditions that I'm involved in researching.
I absolutely agree with that statement. Do we have any more questions? We're just getting ready to wrap up. And if you want to use your raise hand feature or the chat button, I'll just take this opportunity because we had such a good crowd today to remind everybody about our walk. If you want to see Dr. Ellenbogen on Saturday, he is our medical honoree at Jimmy John Stadium. We couldn't have a better medical honoree, in my opinion. So hope to see you there. And if you have any questions about registration or anything like that, feel free to give us a call at the foundation or check out our new website. And follow us on social media too. Everybody's got Facebook, right? Here's one from Patty. Hi, Patty. Research studies, you learn so much about yourself. Absolutely. Right? You have to do diaries and you get a lot of attention from a lot of people.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think this was great. So informative, so much good information. I know I've witnessed Apokin work as well for many people. So I thought this was so informative. I can't thank you enough. If there's any other questions, feel free to give us a call at the foundation. I'm sure we can get an answer for you. Thank you again, Dr. Ellenbogen. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Supernus, for sponsoring this virtual education series. And with that, I'm going to end the meeting for all.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Yes, it's going to be beautiful. Bye, everybody.